guys, so today's video is going to be my last favorites video for the year of 2022. And we're going to be talking about all of my November favorites that I tried out this past November. I cannot believe this is the last favorites video of the year. It's kind of crazy that we are into December now. This year went by in a blink. It's honestly kind of crazy how fast this year went. It's a little bit nuts. So we have a few things that I would like to talk about for what I really loved this month, what I was reaching for a lot. But also it's gonna mostly be products that I had picked up during the Sephora VIB sale, and also some products that I mentioned in that video as well. Where the heck is the mascara I want to talk about? You know what? We'll just get to that when we do. So let's talk about a foundation first. Yes, I finally did pick up a new foundation. I try to kind of, limit my foundation and concealer purchases because for me, I don't really use up foundation and tinted moisturizers as much as I used to, because as my foundation and tinted moisturizer collection has grown more, because I think the reason why I used to go through foundation and concealer more often than I do now is because my collection was a bit smaller, and now I have about, not saying that my foundation collection is huge, like for me, I like keeping my foundation and tinted moisturizer collection combined under like 20 foundations. I think it's at 20 right now, which sounds like a lot to some people, but for me, honestly, that's where I try to keep my happy medium of foundations and concealers. So, especially foundation. So I've only picked up one foundation this past Sephora sale in the spring, and then I usually always pick up a foundation during the Sephora sale so I can try a new foundation that I've been wanting to try. And the one I decided to pick up this month was the Haus Labs Triclone Skin Tech Foundation. And I am absolutely freaking obsessed with this foundation. There is something about the finish of this foundation that just makes your skin look so silky, smooth, glowing gorgeousness. It just has this finish to it that makes your skin just glow, but it looks like silk on your skin. It is so beautiful. I think for people that have dry skin would prefer this foundation more than people that have oily skin, because it is a very dewy foundation. I don't find it to be too dewy on me because, of course, I have dry skin. So I think that's why I have been loving it so much, and that's why some people aren't really loving this foundation that don't have dry skin. I wish when bigger brands like Haus Labs or Fenty Beauty, brands like that, Pat McGrath, would release two different kinds of finishes every time they, are going to say that they're going to launch their first foundation. Like Pat McGrath could have released a matte and a dewy foundation. Haus Labs could have released a dewy and a matte foundation. Dior did that with their Dior Forever foundation. They released a matte version and a dewy version. And I think that's a really smart thing to do. Yes, that's not Dior's first foundation that they've launched, but you can't tell me that Haus Labs isn't going to have access to be able to release a dewy and a matte foundation. I would say this isn't extremely dewy for me though. And I honestly don't think it gets that dewy or shiny on me throughout the day. It does, but it looks so natural on me because I have dry skin. I have just been reaching for this again and again and again. I cannot wait to use it. Every time I wear it, I just can't wait to wear it again. It's just such a gorgeous foundation on the cheeks and the face, and I just have been loving it. And every time I use it, I'm I love it more and more every time I use it. That's how much I love this foundation. And I'm in the shade 050 Fair Cool, and I absolutely love this. It's just so gorgeous on the skin. I think that this is a really good shade for me as well. It just has this way of making your skin look so naturally beautiful. Like, you know you're wearing foundation, and it's also super weightless, doesn't feel like anything on the skin. I've kind of realized that I have to use this with certain primers, like my e.l.f. Hydro Grip primer is usually the way that I use it. If I use it with like a different primer, sometimes it can feel a bit dry after like 5 or 6 hours in the day. And that's when I started notice like, you know, kind of breaking up a little bit on my like nose area, but honestly it still looks so beautiful at the end of the day, and it wears really nicely. Like, it doesn't look bad at the end of the day when it starts to wear off, or when it starts to look, you know, a bit like not as perfect as when you first put it on. Um, I still have to try it more this month, but it's probably definitely going to be in my yearly favorites because I only tried this and the Valentino foundation this year, but I love it. It's so beautiful. So that is definitely the first favorite. Okay, now let's get into some eyeshadow palettes. And honestly, these three palettes that I've tried, one of them I haven't tried every single shade in, but I have tried every single shade. There's just one shade I haven't tried on my lid yet, but I can already tell I love this palette. Let's talk about ColourPop first. I did pick up one ColourPop palette this past month, and honestly, I have been loving this palette. This is one of my favorite palettes that I've tried from ColourPop this year. I was trying to resist getting this palette, but then I kept on thinking about it and I was like, I'm just going to get it. So this is the ColourPop Not a Box of Chocolates palette. When I find that I want to reach for a neutral palette when I'm not working, this is the palette I am reaching for. And I've used this palette a ton this past month. I have used it at least 10 times this past month. And I just think that they really did something with this neutral palette. I think that this is a palette that offers, like, I know that people are like, another neutral palette from ColourPop, blah, blah, blah. But, like, I don't think that they really had anything similar to this palette in their entire line of eyeshadow palettes that they have come out with. I also really, really love this 16 pan format. They don't do this 16 pan format that often, but when they do, I usually love the ones that come out in this format. And also, I seem to love these square pan pressed eyeshadows from ColourPop a little bit more sometimes. Not to say that the round pans aren't still my favorite, but I just really love the range of colors and neutrals that you get in this palette. I like that it goes from very light to very deep and dark. And that was kind of their goal with this collection, that it worked for a variety of skin tones. And I feel like these tones on the bottom are going to be so beautiful for darker skin tones. And I'm glad that they listened to their consumers and released something for everyone. Even like these lighter tones aren't really that light. They're kind of more mid-toned. And then most of the dark shades in here are very medium to deep tones. Like, there's not really that many light neutrals in here, and I really appreciate that because you can't tell me there isn't a light neutral in every single ColourPop palette. So that's what makes this palette a little bit more different with the tones of neutrals that are in here. I'm not saying that this palette is anything revolutionary, but when I want to reach for a neutral palette for every day, this is the palette that I've been reaching for. And I really like this palette because I really love the formula of it. The matte blend so beautifully and smoothly, and the shimmers are just gorgeous on the lid. I kind of wish that there might have been a little bit of differentiation between some of the more bronzy shimmers. These three shimmers are my absolute favorite. My favorite shimmer is Honeycomb Crunch. It's like this gorgeous metallic shimmer. It's so fucking pretty. Oh my god, so pretty. It's just like, it's not crumbly on the lid whatsoever. It looks a bit crumbly when I swatch it, but on the lid it is stunning. And then I also love the shade Peanut Brittle. I need to wear this one again. I've only worn this one once. But it's like this gorgeous metallic, more glittery shimmer, but it's not like that pressed glitter kind of formula. It's kind of much more glittery metallic, and it's just so gorgeous. I love it. And then the mattes in here are just so buttery smooth. There is a bit of kick up to them, but honestly, that doesn't really bother me because they perform so well and there's no fallout on your when you use these. Like compared to some eyeshadows that I've used recently, there's no fallout to these. And they're just so buttery smooth and so nice. So this one is Crazy for Cocoa. This one is Tiramisu. And this one is Amaretto. Those were basically my 3 most used mattes in here. I pretty much almost reach for these every time I do a look with this palette. But I was trying to see why I wouldn't add this to my collection. And honestly, this kind of reminds me of the Nabla Side by Side palette. And this palette makes me want to reach for it more. Did I just... No, that's highlighter. I'm like, did I get eyeshadow up there? But that is highlighter. Sorry. It's like not blended in as much. It's just like sitting on top, but I don't have a beauty blender in here right now. I guess I could just use my powder brush. Yeah, that's better. I was like, that is not really, yeah, that's definitely better. I was like, I thought it was eyeshadow that I got on my forehead. But it makes it, I kind of get more inclined to reach for this over the Nabla one because the Nabla palette is really, really good. But there are some shimmers in that palette that I'm not in love with. I love all the shimmers that I tried in this palette because they're so easy to use and they're just so pretty. This one I use on my inner corners all the time because it's such a gorgeous inner corner highlight. It's Champagne Truffle is the shade and it's beautiful on the lid as well. And then the only thing is that this little nougat shade is not light enough for me to put on my brow bone. So it's a bit dark for me and I don't really use this as a crease shade. So honestly, I didn't really need this shade in the palette. I could use it as like a setting shade. I probably should use it as a crease shade at some point, but honestly, that's really the only shade I would say I don't need in this palette. All the other shades I really, really like. So it's a beautiful palette and I've been using it a ton. I just used it yesterday. I'm not wearing it today. I'm actually wearing the Harry Potter palette because I hadn't worn this in a little while and I love the Harry Potter palette. It's definitely still a favorite of mine. But I've already raved about that for like my past 2 favorites videos, so I didn't want to include it in this one. And obviously, I'm going to be doing my eyeshadow palette countdown for the year of 2022, and you'll see my thoughts on every single palette of the year. But this is a really, really good release from ColourPop, and this was a really good collection release from them. All of the lippies sold out in this collection, and I think maybe the eyeshadow palette has, I'm not sure. It was just such a pretty collection, and I hate the people that compare this to the Too Faced chocolate bar palettes. This is not the same thing. It is not the same. And I actually think that this formula is way better than the chocolate bar palettes. And it's like a fraction of that price. It's like $20. I mean, this one was a little bit more pricey because it had 16 shades as opposed to their usual 12 pans. But it was a really good palette. I really like it. I didn't end up picking up the lippies, but I kind of want to get them. But I also didn't pick up anything for ColourPop's Black Friday and Cyber Monday sales because I picked up from 2 other brands that I'm going to talk to you about. But I could not resist getting this palette in November, and I knew if I didn't get it when it first launched, I knew it was going to be gone, and that is the Oden's Eye Merry Christmas palette. I didn't get both palettes because I really did want to get both. But then I felt like they were both going to sell out the second pre-order anyway, that I kind of saved myself from not getting the second one because I honestly don't need it. And honestly, this one will be the one that I reach for over the other one because this one has a lot more like wearable shades in it. Like, not saying it's a neutral palette, but it's definitely the one that I thought that I would be able to create more looks with because I don't really wear blues and greens that often. I actually wear green eyeshadow more often. So this is the Merry Christmas palette. You guys, this palette is absolutely stunning. It's stunning. I have never tried shimmers like this before. These are probably my favorite shimmers that Odin's has ever done is in this palette, probably even more so than the Christmas Eve palette. And also the reason why I wanted to get this one is because, again, the color story is definitely more of a color story that I would use because y'all know I love my reds and my warm tones. And I really love green eyeshadow looks. I've been wearing the green eyeshadows in here quite a bit. But I just finished testing out all of the shimmers in here like 2 days ago, so I have used every single shade in here. So that was my goal for November. Originally, I was like, I'm gonna save some of the shimmers to wear in December, obviously when Christmas rolls around. But then I was like, I couldn't stop thinking about using this palette every time that I didn't wear it. Then I'm like, I just want to go back and use the rest of the shimmers in here. The reason why I liked the shimmers in this palette over the Christmas Eve palette is that basically every shimmer in here is like a special shifting, beautiful, like almost multi-dimensional duochrome shimmer, and they're absolutely stunning. This multi-chrome Elf Wish is so ridiculously stunning. It looks like a Christmas ornament on your lid. Like it just reflects so many beautiful shifting colors. It's like green to red to gold. It's so freaking stunning. Like this, if this shade doesn't scream Christmas to you, I don't know what does. Like literally, it reminds me of like Christmas tree lights. It's so freaking gorgeous. Like the Christmas tree lights outside people's homes, like twinkling green and red. Like that's how stunning it is. But there's so many freaking gorgeous shades in here. This shade New Year, oh my god. It's like the most stunning like emerald green shimmer. It is so ridiculously beautiful, but it's not just green. It reflects like blues and emerald glitters. It's so freaking stunning. Those are definitely my two favorites, and I think that my other favorite is the orange. These are the first three that I wore in the palette, and you guys know I love orange shimmers. This shade, All Right, it's such a stunning tangerine shimmer. Oh, and there's so many beautiful like gold and orange glitters in it. They are just so stunning. Like my heart skipped a beat when I got this palette, and every time I swatch it, I'm like literally just gasp at how gorgeous this palette is. And I'll swatch a couple of the mattes, and these are insanely pigmented. Like I'm barely dipping into the pan. This one is Christmas Tree, and this one is Poisonetta. Oh my god, these are like some of the most pigmented mattes I've ever used. I mean, I've always loved Odin's formula, but I feel like with this palette, they stepped it up even more, and these are just phenomenally good. And they blend so well. So I'm just obsessed with this palette, and I'm going to keep on using it throughout the month of December. I haven't used it yet this month, but the month's just started. It's only December 2nd, but I'm planning to use it very soon. But I also have my Blend Bunny palette coming, which I cannot wait to use. But I'm sorry if you didn't get your hand on this, but I knew that these palettes were going to sell out because they just killed it with this. They killed it. They're so phenomenally gorgeous. Oh, I wanted to say, so the reason why, I mean, I love this palette so much, but I just kind of wish that there would have been like maybe one other matte in here, but at the same time, like I don't know what shimmer I would take out of here, because honestly I wouldn't remove any of these shimmers in here because they're all so freaking stunning. Like I have no problems with any of the shimmers in here. I love every single one. The only shade I probably would have swapped out in this palette is this dark, it's pretty much a black. I'm not that much of a black matte eyeshadow girl. I like my dark browns, and I love browns to deepen up a look. So I kind of wish that this was more of like a toasty brown kind of shade, but I understand why they didn't do that because brown is such a basic matte color. But I kind of wish that this was a brown, because I feel like this would kind of make me like want to use the palette a little bit more. Not to say I don't love using it, I just find it's a little bit more challenging for me to think about what looks I want to create, because sometimes when I sit down with this palette, I have to look at it and really think about what shades I want to put together. But 99% of the time, it usually works because the mattes are so pigmented in here that they layer so well. And that's how you really need to think about a look sometimes do the mattes show up pigmented enough over the other mattes, and do they layer well? So I just wanted to point that out. Other than that, this palette is absolutely stunning, and it's not going to stop me from using it a few times this December. And I cannot wait to dip it into it again. I really want to use that Elf Wish shade again because it's so stunning. So love this palette. And then the last palette I wanted to talk about, I almost didn't mention this in this video, but I just haven't hauled it yet, but I did upload a first impressions on this palette, and I actually have another look coming with this palette, and I'm already in love with it, and I did try it in November, so I'm including it in this video because then I won't be able to include it again until the end of January, and I don't want to wait that long to talk about it. And this is the Game Beauty Victory palette. Now, I waited so long to finally bite the bullet to try this brand, and I'm like, Caitlin, this brand has been on your mind since this palette released, like last year. I was like, just pick it up finally. So this was the only brand that I ordered from for Black Friday besides Blend Bunny, because those were really, ColourPop did not really release anything I was remotely interested in for Black Friday. I'm like, I don't need the mystery box. I don't need these basic 9 pans that they came out with in the vault. I'm like, I'm good. So I was like, I just want to pick up a palette that has been on my mind for so long. And oh my God. I mean, if you guys didn't see my first impressions video, this palette is gorgeous. The mattes blend so smoothly. They are so buttery smooth and soft. And the shimmers are just so multi-dimensional. And they're so full of sparkly little multi-dimensional glitters. They are so gorgeous. Like, I have nothing negative to say about this palette because the mattes blend so seamlessly together and the shimmers are stunning. And also the eyeshadow lasts a really decent amount of time on my eyes, and they don't really transfer that much at all. So this palette is awesome, and I am so glad that I finally tried this brand. I knew that this color story was going to be the one for me, since this one is like the most neutral leaning color story, but I love I kind of wish they would have put like maybe like another blue in here, because I feel like these 5 mattes weren't absolutely necessary, but at the same time it makes me happy because the more neutral mattes the better, honestly, because that will make me more inclined to use it since I'm a neutral lover. Oh my God, this shade Gold, so Game Beauty is famous for like their marbled shimmers, but this shade isn't really that multi-dimensional. It's pretty much a basic gold shimmer. I was kind of a little bit underwhelmed with it, but it's so gorgeous. Like, it's still a gorgeous gold. I just thought it was going to be a little bit more multi-dimensional than what you get. It's still gorgeous though. And then this shade Glass Cannon. This shade was a little bit harder to pick up. It's a little bit sheerer than you think it would be. But once you get it built up on your lid, it's really beautiful. It's like this stunning, like frosty, icy, bluish green. It's very pretty. And then I'll swatch a couple of the mattes for you guys. They're just so buttery smooth and easy to work with. And I love them. They're just so good. So this one is Kiting, this one is Gigi, and this one is Tank. I'm just going to finger swatch them for you. They're so incredibly smooth on the eyes. So yeah, been loving this palette. The only shade I haven't used on my lid yet is Loot. And it looks like such a gorgeous, stunning, multi-dimensional, like greenish, sparkly white. And I'm so excited to use that. And I'm planning to use that on Sunday. I would have used it today, but I wanted to do like a cooler tone look with the Harry Potter palette. And I kind of wanted to go back to the Harry Potter palette because I hadn't used it in a little while, and I just love this palette. But yeah, this is amazing. I am so impressed with this brand. And I think that they're killing it, and I think they have a solid eyeshadow formula, because this eyeshadow formula is so freaking good. Okay, we only have a few more products to talk about. I just really wanted to pick out my absolute favorite things that I tried recently. I just want to grab the mascara. Okay, so we do have one mascara to talk about, because I did pick up one mascara at the VIB sale, and this is the, everybody's been talking about this mascara for good reason. It really does live up. This mascara for, I feel like such a Brooklyner right now. Everybody's been talking about this mascara for good reason, because it is really, really good. And this is the Tower 28 Making Waves mascara. This mascara is so good, you guys. And every time I don't use this, I want to go back and use it. That's how much I like this mascara. And the reason why this mascara is so easy to use is because of that curved wand. But this gives your lashes such a beautiful curl. Like, the one I'm wearing today is the ColourPop Lengthening Mascara, and this one really does lengthen my lashes, but it doesn't really curl them as much as it does give them length. This wand and this formula really just grips onto each individual lash. And I've kind of seen like nothing like this mascara, where it grips onto every lash and gives it like its own individual curl. That's why this mascara is so good, and this is why I think it's sold out like twice already, because it's so good. Tower 28 just knocks it out of the park, and they end up becoming some of my staple favorite makeup products from them. Like, I love their tinted moisturizer. I love their Magic Hour cream blush. Love their glosses. Love this mascara. They just really know what they're doing. So keep it up, Tower 28. You knock it out of the park. Okay, so let's talk about a couple. I only have two blushes. Actually, I only have one blush to talk about, because I only picked up one blush this past month. I really have just been trying to be very super picky with my blush and highlight purchases, because I only picked up two highlighters. Actually, I picked up three highlighters this month. I'm lying. But I only picked up one blush this month. And this blush and highlight has been on my list for so long. And I picked them up with the, I'm just trying to get this glitter off of my hands. I really did get a bunch of glitter on my hands. Crap. I should have brought another tissue in here. I'm just asking my boyfriend what he wants to eat, because I'm going to leave in like a few minutes after I'm done filming this. So those two products are from the Soul Moon collection from Oden's Eye. These are so gorgeous, you guys. So I did pick up one of the blushes and one of the highlighters, and the blush shade that I got was, I just need to get it out of the thing. I think it's called, Warm Sun. This is stunning. Like, it just looks like a basic orange, the insert just fell out. That was a weird reaction. I should have been like, oh no, not bleh. So this is the Warm Sun blush from Oden's Eye. It looks like a basic orange blush, but you guys, the formula is just so good. It's so effortless. It just goes on the cheeks so freaking easily. And you're just like, whoop, whoop, done. Like, literally like 2 swipes, and it goes on so smoothly and so pigmented, but it's not like overly pigmented that you're like, oh shit, I put too much on. It just looks stunning. I love it. This is such a gorgeous blush. It doesn't really swatch the greatest because of and also like the imprint of the sun is so beautiful. I love it. And again, it doesn't swatch like anything, but on the cheeks, it's stunning. And if you guys want to see it on my cheeks, I try this with the highlighter and the Merry Christmas palette in my first impressions of the Merry Christmas palette. And I use both of these in that video. And I loved everything that I tried, because I pretty much love everything that I tried from Oden's Eye, because their stuff is so good. So I knew, and I've been wanting these since they came out, so I finally just ordered them with the Merry Christmas palette. And then the highlighter that I got is so freaking stunning. This is probably one of my favorite highlighters, if not my favorite highlighter I tried this year. It's that freaking good. because it's like a duochrome highlighter. I need my scissors to open these because these boxes are a little bit difficult to open. And then we'll be done. We just have a couple more Haus Labs products to talk about. I need to open this. Oh my God. So the highlighter that I got is called Warm Sunshine. Oh, this is so stunning, you guys. Like, this is so ridiculously gorgeous and sparkly on your cheeks. Like, if you're someone that doesn't love an intense highlighter, you are not gonna like this. But you guys know I love intense highlighters. Like, for me, I need to shine from the heavens, and I love that look. I've always been obsessed with really pigmented, gorgeous highlighters. It's just stunning. But also, again, the formula of this is so ridiculously smooth on the cheeks. But it's also like, also only takes like one swipe and it's on your cheeks. Like, it's so ridiculously stunning. Like, when I put it on, I was like, it was just so beautiful. And again, I tried this in that video if you guys want to see it, but it's so ridiculously gorgeous. Like, again, Odense killed it with their releases this year, and I'm super excited to see what they come out with next. I can't believe they only released 3 collections this year. Like, I'm like, why didn't you release like something in a little bit more? But they really did something special with these launches, especially this collection. It's just beyond gorgeous. I only wanted the cheek products from this collection. Okay, so let's talk about this highlighter as well. So this one is from Game Beauty, and this one is also gorgeous. This has such a beautiful formula, and I've used it twice. I would like to use it a bit more, but since I've only had it for like a week or two, I've only been able to use it twice, but it's so stunning on the skin. It has like this one is called the Elemental Pearl highlighter in the shade 03 Geo. It's stunning. Oh my God. It's just so pretty on the cheeks. Like, I love it. Like, this brand is really killing it, and I'm really excited to see what they come out with next year. I hope they come out with lippies or blushes, but these highlighters are stunning. I know you're not going to be able to see it that well right now. I mean, I do use it in my first impressions video if you guys want to see that, along with the Victory palette when I try out the Victory palette for the first time. But this is absolutely stunning. It just has this, like, it looks so gorgeous on the cheeks, and it looks so super smooth, and it's sparkly, and I love it. It's stunning. Okay, I love it so much. All right, a couple more products. So I just wanted to talk about this product really quick. It's not my absolute favorite. I do like it, but I'm going to tell you guys right now, I wouldn't recommend this from Haus Labs because I think it's ridiculously overpriced. I would say get the foundation over this. This is $45. That's a standard price for foundation. I'll pay that for foundation because it's worth it for me for foundation. But this, I feel like it's overpriced. And this is one of the most expensive highlighters in my collection. And I don't think it's as good as her other highlighters that she released in her older line. And this is the Haus Labs Bio Radiant Gel Powder Highlighter in the shade Sunstone. I don't know if I'm going to take this back. I honestly don't think this is worth the money. And I'd rather just get the money back for something that I'm not really obsessed with. I think it's very pretty. Like, it's not a bad highlighter. It's very pretty. But honestly, it kind of just is. I think that the Odense and the Game Beauty highlighters are much more special than this highlighter. I don't think that this is really anything that we really need to write home about. I mean, some people are into like the more sheer highlighters. It's pretty. I feel like I have to try it 1 or 2 more times, but honestly, I feel like Sephora is even more strict about their return policy than Ulta, because Ulta gives you 60 days now, and Sephora only gives you 30 days, and then after that, I think you just get a store credit. But honestly, I'd rather put it towards something else that I want to get. I actually might just put it towards my Kiehl's shampoo and conditioner that I need. But it's good, and this is the shade. I don't know if you guys see it on the bottom here. It's pretty. You're not gonna be able to see it that well because of all the glitter on my hands, but I'm not like head over heels in love with it. I think her old blush and highlighter duos were such, they're not like super like sparkly, but they have this amazing like intensity to them that make them worth it. This one is pretty, but it's not like, oh my God, anything revolutionary to justify how expensive it is. So I wanted to mention it because I think it's very pretty, but I don't recommend you spend your money on this. I think it's overpriced. Okay, so, but the lip products I tried from Haus Labs, I really liked, and I wanted to talk about these two products, and these are everywhere for good reason. These are really, really good, and I kept both. I was only going to get one shade of this because the other shade that I wanted wasn't available, which was the nude shade. But then I ended up keeping both because I loved the formula so much. And these are the Haus Labs Atomic Shape. I'm almost done. The dog started barking and I feel like my mom is home now. So these are the Haus Labs Atomic Shake lip lacquers. And I have it in the shade Rose Shine and Sepia Shine. And the reason why I think that these products are so cool and honestly very unique in the makeup industry is because they are matte lip lacquers. And they just have like this amazing shine to them that makes your lips really shiny, and they just look so pretty on the lips. They're also like kind of bulletproof, so they really don't come off your lips. And I just love the tones of these. I especially love the pink color. I think that's so pretty, and the sepia shine is just so gorgeous, but they're so super shiny on your lips. I really, really like them. The only thing is that when you do like kind of wipe them off a little bit when you're eating, they're a little bit hard to reapply because since they're so matte, they kind of come off a bit in flakes when you eat. But once you reapply it over it, it smooths it out right away. It's just a little bit dry on your lips after you like eat something. But honestly, I don't find these drying at all throughout the day. Like they wear really, really well. So I really like those. And then the last thing, I've loved this because I have the older one that I love. So I really wanted to try the newer lip crayons from Haus Labs, but I honestly feel like this is the same shade that I have. But I don't care. I love it, and I've used it a few times. This is the Le Monster Matte Lip Crayon in the shade Peach Matte. I've always loved these from Gaga. I think that these are like some of her best products. They're just so super smooth, easy, pigmented, feel so comfortable on the lips, and I highly recommend these if you haven't tried them. These are like some of the best lip crayons I've ever tried. So yeah, that's it. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I cannot believe this is the last favorites video of 2022. I wanted to mention this one too really quick. This is from Colored Rain in the shade Satin Cream. Debbie sent this to me because I actually won a giveaway on her channel, and she was giving away a couple of lippies. And she told me I could pick which lippy I wanted to try, and this is the one that I wanted to try out of the three that she showed me. And I think it's a really pretty nude matte liquid lipstick, and I really, really like it. Sorry, I just wanted to squeeze that in there because I was like, if I don't mention it now, I'm not going to be able to mention it until like next year. So yeah, that is it, you guys. I hope you enjoyed this video. Thank you so much for watching. Please like and subscribe. Follow me on my Instagram at CBW819 and check out my Poshmark at the same handle. I should have left like 20 minutes ago already. It's like super late already. And yeah, let me know what your favorites were for this past month, and also some of your favorites through the whole year. But you can also just leave that on my yearly favorites video of everything that I tried and what I count down for you guys. So yeah, I love you guys so much, and I hope you guys enjoyed this. Bye.